Namaste. In the 36th episode of Songbook for the Self, we would have experienced or we are about to experience moving through grief with music. This video talks about the psychological, spiritual and musical ideas that were used to create that experience. This video is divided into the following sections. Section 1 deals with knowledge and perspectives on grief. Section 2 deals with ragas and their power. Section 3 talks about ArchirAdi Margam in Srivaishnava Vishishtadvaita philosophy. Before we go into each section, here is something that you should keep in mind as you listen. Grief, psychology, musical experience, philosophies are all very subjective. I am sharing how I feel and how I think. You may feel differently and you may think differently, which is completely fine. We are not here to judge each other. We are sharing what can be an experience, and who knows, what you hear today may nudge you to move through your grief in a beautiful way. Just would request you to be open and curious to know and to experience. Let us go to the first section, knowledge and perspectives on grief. What is grief? Cleveland Clinic says that grief is the experience of coping with loss. Most of us think of grief as happening in the painful period following the death of a loved one. But grief can accompany any event that disrupts or challenges our sense of normalcy or ourselves. This includes the loss of connections that define us. One may grieve for the loss of a friend, family member, partner, pet, loss of marriage, friendship, loss of home, loss of good health, and so on. So, primarily, grief is felt when an earlier beautiful connection is broken. It is essential to note that to grieve about someone or something, there has to be an earlier beautiful connection experienced by that person consciously or unconsciously. We are going to look at connections from both outside and inside. Outside connections are connections with our family members and lineage, our friends, our culture, our community, and so on. Inside connections are connections with our body, mind, and our higher self. When an outside connection is broken, we are aware. When an inside connection is broken, we may not even be aware of it. Both outside and inside connections can support each other and help each other move through grief. Elizabeth K. Ross, a Swiss-American psychiatrist, in her book on death and dying, mentions 5 stages of grief: denial, anger, bargaining with guilt or blame, depression, and acceptance. We may experience all this and many more when we are grieving. Again, these stages are there for us to have some guidelines to know how we are moving through grief, but they do not give us or anyone else the opportunity to judge someone's feeling. Whatever we are feeling is completely okay. What we need to know is that we are moving through it and we are not stuck, and we have the support and understanding. We will close this section with one thought: why knowledge is important. What seems at a surface level may not be what actually is at a deeper level. All the stages that are mentioned by Ross may not be necessarily associated with grief. When someone who had been calm earlier suddenly exhibits anger after a loss of a loved one, we know that we are not dealing with anger here, but with grief. Another perspective is that if someone was mostly calm earlier, it is possible that they did not experience a trigger that sparked the wound up anger in them. The more aware we are, the better we will be equipped with to know what is the source of our emotion. And when we know that, we can try to deal with it with the appropriate tool. That is why knowledge is important. Now let us come to the second section, Ragas and their power. Have you heard about Viraha Rasa in music and dance? Viraha is a subcategory of Sringara Rasa, which is one of the 9 rasas mentioned in Natya Shastra. Sri Jayadevar, a 12th century poet, has composed Geeta Govindam where Viraha Rasa, the feeling of separation or longing, is the central theme, particularly as Vipralambha Sringara, love in separation variety. Many years ago, I heard Sri Balamurli Krishna sing live this beautiful Ashtapadi about separation or viraha in Raga Vasanti. From that day onwards, whenever I feel the pain of separation, the first raga that comes to my mind is Vasanti and its power to connect with grief. I am sharing that song in the description of this video for you to feel connected to. The small dha amongst all the other higher swaras is what makes that emotion of separation come alive, I feel. The Arohanam Avrohanam of Vasanti Raga is Sa Ri Ga Pa Da Sa Sada Pa Ga Re Sa. The small dha that I am talking about is this Ga Pa Da Pa Ga Re Ga Pa Da Sada Pa Sa Ri Ga Pa Ga Re Ga Pa Da Sada Pa. Vasanti Raga can be used to connect to your grief. It can feel like someone saying to you, I empathize with you. The raga is moving or understanding that separation, and when it connects to your own separation, you feel united with that separation. You feel that your emotions are validated and acknowledged. A part of receiving empathy is also feeling validated, which in turn makes us feel it's okay. In our grief, if we are either feeling angry or guilty or blaming someone, we might need to be held and we might want to feel it's okay. The feeling of being held can be felt through listening to the ragam Sahana, a ragam which is full of karuna rasa or compassion. Any strong emotion can be held by compassion, and Sahana Ragam just does that. So the Sahana Ragam Arohanam Avrohanam is Sari Ga Ma Pa Ma Da Ni Sa Sa Ni Da Pa Ma Ga Ma Ri Ga Ri Sa. And the movement from Ma to Re, Re Ga Ma Pa Ma Ga Ma Re Ga Re Sa, Ma Re Ga Ma Pa Re Ga Ma Pa. All these movements of coming from a higher to lower makes us connect to this flow of compassion. Once we have connected to our grief and are held in and by a compassionate space, then the emotions start flowing, and then slowly we might move towards calm. Once we move towards calm, we can see things with a different perspective. Now, many times, worrying is also part of grief. Worrying about where our loved ones are now after leaving their body. How are they getting treated? How are they feeling, etc. If we feel that they are in a beautiful space, much beautiful than the space that they were in while they were in this world, it can make us feel good. Beauty is described by Ragam Mohanam, and incidentally, there is just one note, the dha, that is different between Vasanti and Mohanam. Vasanti has the lower dha and Mohanam has the higher. So technically, we are one note away from embracing our grief and moving through it. The Arohanam Avarohanam of Mohana Ragam. Sari ga pada sa sada pagari sa. Okay, let's feel the difference between Vasanti Ragam and the Mohanam Ragam. Vasanti Ragam. Sari ga pada sada pagari sa. Mohana Ragam. Sari ga pada sa sada pagari sa. What does this convey? How do you feel when listening? Just one note difference can make us feel completely different. That's the power of raga. So moving through grief at one point also will lead us to exploring joy again. And that is when this Mohana Raga helps. And our Carnatic music tradition has this beautiful tanam which is full of liveliness. And that is what has been incorporated into the experience as well. Now let's come to section 3, ArchirAdi Margam in Srivaishnava Vishishtadvaita philosophy. Nammalwar is the foremost Alwars amongst the 12 in the Srivaishnava Sampradaya. In part of his Tiruvaimozhi, Nammalwar mercifully explains how Srimannarayana granted the vision of ArchirAdi Margam, which is the path of light that is taken by the devotees who are liberated. And when we feel that our loved ones are welcomed like this in the world of the divine light, we feel happy for them. There are 11 pasurams that describe the welcoming of the liberated soul. All these pasurams talk about how the Jivatma is welcomed and honored by the nature, by the higher worlds and AdhivAhika worlds, the abode of those who guide the Atma towards Vaikuntam, Devatas, Devastris, Marutas, Vasus and nithyasUris. The nithyasUris are the ones who are eternally serving Bhagavan. They don't take birth because of their karma. They who are very close to the Bhagavan, they come and wash the feet of this Jivatma who is ascending to Vaikuntam. And finally, Perumal himself comes and receives the Jivatma, and this Jivatma can now enjoy eternal bliss in Bhagavan's lap. These pasurams are in language Tamil. The beauty is further enhanced by the fact that the last two words of the pasuram become the first two words of the next pasuram, showing that the Jivatma is never left alone. She is being held even when she moves from one space to another. So this is the knowledge that is the base for the experience for the Songbook for the Self 36th episode. Hope this was helpful to connect your grief and make it move. Remember, it is your experience, and every experience is there for a purpose, and there is beauty in every experience. Thank you. Wishing well for all the beings in this universe. Namaste.